New York City and Lower Manhattan's municipal water supply has radically improved since the Dutch settled there in the early 1600s. Historically, it was actually the threat of fires which provided the main drive for a more robust and reliable source of water supply. There were significant fires in the 1830s in Manhattan, which led to the city looking upstate for the first time for a much more resilient water supply. Water is now derived from a large area, covering 8 counties in New York State and a small slither of Connecticut. The water supply system consists of 19 reservoirs and 3 controlled lakes, has 580 billion gallons of water storage and serves 9.4 million people in New York City and upstate counties. New York City's water is gravity-fed by large aqueducts flowing from north to south, the Delaware and Catskill aqueduct systems. The water pressure for Lower Manhattan south of 14th Street is regulated before entering a network of multiple 20-inch north to south primary mains with 12-inch diameter secondary mains in each street to provide water supplies to individual buildings. There are 20-inch primary mains in West Street, Greenwich, West Broadway, Church Street and Broadway, bringing water south towards the World Trade Center. Additional water mains east of Broadway also contribute to the delivery capacity to Lower Manhattan. 20-inch east and west mains on principal east-west streets such as Chambers, Vesey and Liberty interconnect with the north-south mains to create a primary distribution grid. The combination of 20-inch primary and 12-inch secondary mains connected to a gravity-fed supply with enormous volume capacity represents a very robust water distribution system. It was claimed by NIST's lead investigator that Building 7's fires were left to burn because of poor water availability to firefighting operations. NIST stated, had a water supply for the automatic sprinkler system been available, it is likely that the fires in WTC 7 would have been controlled and the collapse prevented. From a firefighter's perspective, the claim of failed local water supplies as a reason for a fire being left to burn makes little sense. Even in the most difficult situations, fire services will get water to an instant one way or another. It's one of the profession's fundamental responsibilities. If local supplies are lacking, firefighters will seek other sources and tap into them as quickly as possible, either from an alternative water main, a different location within the same water main, or from alternative water sources like the River Hudson. It was proposed by NIST that the water supply to Building 7 may have been compromised by damage from the falling towers in the morning. However, as explained, the mains water supply on Manhattan runs from north to south, with Building 7 positioned north and upstream of the towers. This diagram was produced by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and depicts the degree of impact from debris due to the collapse of the towers. The impact of debris in the region of Building 7 was described as light and consisting mostly of aluminium cladding and other small debris. Here we can see debris from North Tower between Building 7 on the left and the Verizon building on the right. A 2002 privately commissioned fire science and engineering investigation specifically looked into the water supply available to firefighting operations on 9/11. It identified very healthy water pressures ranging from 44 to 60 psi at the 14th Street pressure regulators between 6:40 am and 11:50 am on the morning of 9/11. Their report stated, the collapse of the towers did not have any effect on pressures at the 14th Street regulators. Hydraulic calculations clearly show that the robust municipal water distribution system of Manhattan had the capacity to deliver even more water than was consumed. The NIST reports themselves are littered with information identifying healthy water supplies after the collapse of the towers. This picture was taken shortly after 10:30 am. Building 7 is in the background to the right, behind the fire appliance at the corner of Barclay and Washington Street. Notice the swollen hose delivering water to the pump. The firefighters are operating the appliance and manoeuvring a charged hose to put out a car fire in the distance. For operational effectiveness and obvious safety reasons, firefighters do not commit into buildings without a proper and dependable water supply. Volume 1 of NIST's Structural Fire Response Report reads, between 11 am and 12 noon, approximately 40 FDNY members arrived at WTC 7 with orders to put the fires out inside WTC 7. Inside, they surveyed conditions and reported seeing small fires. A chief officer who had been inside the building about 20 to 25 minutes went to the FDNY command post and reported to the command post chief that he believed the fires inside WTC7 could be extinguished. Thus the chief went back to extinguish the fires. He would not have done this without a good water supply. Here we can see World Trade Center Building 5, which was south of 7, but still had a good water supply for firefighting, as did other locations south of 7. New York Harbour fireboats, capable of delivering tens of thousands of gallons of water every minute into the main system and to pumps on the fireground, had staged on the Hudson River and laid large diameter delivery hoses to the corner of Vesey and West Street and West and Liberty. In a formal legal interview under oath, FDNY Chief Peter Hayden of Division 1 was asked about water availability at Building 7. He confirmed that water was available and standpipes were in operation. This footage also shows the sprinkler system in Building 7 delivering water to a lower floor. The first 20 lower floors were supplied with water from the street main system. According to all the evidence, water supplies clearly were not an issue for firefighting at Building 7.